It all started on a cold Tuesday morning when the world felt like it was rushing past him. Samuel Carter, a 33-year-old janitor, a single dad, and a man holding his life together with tired hands, never expected anyone to look at him twice. Yet that morning in a quiet hallway of a skyscraper, he cleaned every night. He made a choice that changed everything. A choice so strange, so unbelievable that even he didn't fully understand it at the time, because that was the morning Samuel Humble, worn unseen, kissed a billionaire woman he had never met to save her life, and nothing about his world or hers would ever be the same. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment below. If you enjoy emotional, life-changing stories like this one, it helps our channel, your channel name, reach more people who need a little hope in their day. Samuel's morning had begun like any other. He woke up before dawn, prepared a quick breakfast for his 8-year-old daughter Lily, and walked her to school with a warm cup of coffee in his hand. He smiled at her jokes, hid his worries, and reminded himself that love, not money, was the most important thing he could give her. The skyscraper where he worked felt intimidating every night. It was home to people whose clothes cost more than his monthly rent. People who talked fast, walked fast, and lived even faster. Samuel, with his mop, his gloves, and his quiet pride, stayed out of their way. He worked his shifts, silently grateful to have steady hours, even if it meant cleaning floors while everyone else went home to warm dinners. But that Tuesday was different. Around 6 a.m., long after the night crew should have left and long before the first executives usually arrived, Samuel heard something strange, a soft thud, a weak gasp, a voice trying to call out and failing. He followed the sound into a boardroom. There, collapsed on the floor, was a woman in an expensive winter coat, her face pale, her breathing uneven, her lips turning a frightening shade of blue. He recognized her instantly, not because he had ever spoken to her, but because everyone in the building knew her name. Ariana Sterling, the billionaire CEO who owned half the companies inside the tower. Brilliant, powerful, untouchable. And in that moment, she looked nothing like the photos. She looked human, fragile, fading. Samuel rushed to her side. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" he asked, shaking. She couldn't respond. She was choking, not from food but from a severe allergic reaction, a reaction so strong that she was losing consciousness fast. Samuel's panic rose like fire in his chest. He checked her pockets, her purse, anything that might hold an EpiPen. Nothing. He grabbed his phone, but the emergency call failed to connect. The storm outside had knocked out the building's signal. He remembered something from a first aid course the janitorial team had taken years ago. An allergic reaction, swollen airways, closing throat, and only one immediate way to get medicine into the body without an injector. Samuel whispered a shaky prayer. He grabbed the small vial of antihistamine drops he kept in his cleaning kit, something he used for his own allergies, and remembered what the instructor had said: "If the person can't swallow, absorb it through the mouth. You have seconds." He lifted her head gently. "So sorry," he murmured, and with trembling courage, he pressed his lips to hers. Not out of desire, not out of impulse, but out of desperation, transferring the life-saving medicine into her mouth, hoping her body would absorb it fast enough. It was the strangest, most surreal moment of his life. Seconds passed, like hours. Then she gasped. Her throat loosened, her lips regained color, her eyes slowly fluttered, open, confused and frightened. Samuel leaned back immediately, shaking, wiping his mouth with the back of his hand. "You're okay," he said softly. "You're going to be okay." Ariana looked at him, really looked, and saw a man who had just risked everything without thinking twice. She whispered a single word. "Why?" Samuel swallowed hard. "Because you needed help. And I was here." Emergency services finally arrived. Once the signal returned, they rushed her out, thanked him, and told him he had saved her life. But Samuel didn't feel like a hero. He felt embarrassed, awkward, scared he'd lose his job for crossing a line, even though he had done the only thing he could. The next night, when he arrived for his shift, his supervisor pulled him aside. "Miss Sterling wants to see you." Samuel's stomach tightened. He expected anger, maybe even a lawsuit. Instead, when he stepped into her office, Ariana stood up slowly, looking healthier and oddly softer than the photos of her steel-cold business persona. "Samuel, she said, "Please sit." He remained standing. "I wanted to thank you," she continued. "I was told that without quick action I wouldn't have made it." He nodded, unsure what to say. "But there's something I don't understand," she said gently. "Most people in this building won't even hold the elevator for someone they don't know. You saved me, a stranger." Samuel looked down at his worn shoes. "Kindness doesn't require a reason," he said. "My daughter, she always tells me we're here on this earth to help each other. I try to live by that." Something in Ariana's expression softened. A glimmer of humanity showed behind the billionaire armor she wore for years. She asked about his life, about Lily, about why he worked such long hours. Samuel answered honestly, not complaining, not seeking pity, just sharing simple truths: how he'd been raising Lily alone since his wife passed away, how he worked nights so he could walk her to school every morning, how he dreamed of giving her a better life, but didn't know how Ariana listened in silence. Then she said something he would never forget. "Let me help." Samuel froze. "Mom, that's not necessary. It's not charity." She insisted, "It's gratitude. And maybe it's time someone showed you the kindness you show everyone else." What followed felt like something out of a dream. Ariana arranged for Samuel to take classes, during the day business courses he had always wanted to take, but never had the time, for she shifted his job to a higher-paying daytime position so he could sleep normal hours. She sponsored Lily's school programs. She even invited them both to weekend events, introducing them not as charity cases, but as friends. People whispered a billionaire and a janitor impossible, but kindness made it possible. Over the next year, something gentle, something unexpected began to grow between Samuel and Ariana. Not a whirlwind romance, but a slow, steady warmth. The kind of connection built on respect, gratitude, and the simple truth that sometimes the most unlikely people are exactly the ones we're meant to meet. One evening, as they watched Lily play in a park filled with autumn leaves, Ariana turned to him. "You saved my life," she said, "but you also changed it. I used to think power was everything. Now I think kindness is." Samuel smiled softly. Kindness is power, and in the golden quiet of that moment, their hands touched, not by accident, not by desperation, but by choice. A small, brave beginning in the end. Samuel didn't just save a billionaire's life. He reminded her, and everyone who heard their story, that kindness is the strongest force we have. It doesn't matter how much money you make, what job you have, or what mistakes you've lived through. What matters is the heart you choose to show the world. And sometimes one act of kindness can rewrite a future for two people who never expected to find each other. So, go out today and spread a little kindness. You never know whose life or heart you might save.